Hey everyone! I wanted to finish up my series on squatting with a longer video about dorsiflexion. So dorsiflexion is your ability of your knees to move forward over your ankles and is part of most squats. If you find that this is sort of what your squat looks like, dorsiflexion might be your problem. That kind of heels in the air. There's a lot of other stuff that can go into it, so make sure you check out the whole series, which is on my blog at petrafishermovement.com. But today we're going to work on improving your dorsiflexion. So I'd like everyone to start just by doing a little squatting test. You can do this freestanding, or if you haven't squatted for a while, hang on to like a kitchen counter or a door handle, and you're just going to lower yourself down into your best squat, and you're going to see what that feels like for the backs of your legs and for dorsiflexion in particular. So for your ankles, for your feet, does it feel possible to get your heels on the ground? Does it feel easy? What's this like for you? If you wanted to hang on to something, it would kind of look like this. So you'd be letting yourself down and just noticing kind of if and when your heels pop up. So it can really be anything. Just make sure it's secure. Don't fall off anything. We are going to start just with a dorsiflexion alternative. So dorsiflexion can take a while to work on, and again, it really could be coming from your whole entire chain. It might not be just dorsiflexion that's your problem. So an option, and a really good one, is to bolster up your heels when you squat down like this. And what this is going to do, it's going to let you be in a less tense or past your boundary position where you have to make more compensations. So it's a better place for your body to adapt to squatting more often and more long. So don't ever be afraid to use bolstering behind your heels. I'm using my half domes here, but you can use up use a rolled towel or a yoga mat, whatever works. So don't poo-poo bolstering. It's a great tool. All right, so let's get down to the dorsiflexion side of things. I've got a piece of wood here, but you don't need one. You just have probably a floor. I'm on sand right now, and it's not great for rolling. And we're going to start with a little bit of rolling. And the reason for that is that the fascia layer, the connective tissue that go over the bottom of your feet, can affect your dorsiflexion. So you're going to take a soft ball, like a yoga tune-up ball or a tennis ball, and we're just going to be really, really chill here. We're just going to roll back and forth along the length of the foot, from the front where the toes are towards the back where the heel is, and just give yourself a little bit of a foot massage. We're not going to get technical here, although you can. How about putting your heel on the ground, taking the ball underneath your toe knuckles, and swiping your toe knuckles side to side here. This is one of my favorites. Feels super yummy. Just warming up these tissues. And really what we're doing here is we're helping your nervous system relax. And if it's holding tension in your feet, you're kind of giving it a signal that maybe it could consider letting go of some of that tension. So one of the interesting things about movement work is that really we're trying to work more with the nervous system than we are with our tissues, because the nervous system is the gatekeeper to tissue changes. So when you're rolling on a ball or on a foam roller, that's a nervous system lever. We're going to be using some more nervous system levers in today's class. And then once you've opened up capacity by helping your nervous system feel safe, then you get to create physical change. So it's kind of a two-step process. Let's switch sides. Take your ball under your other foot. Just a nice, long, easy strokes forward and back. You're literally giving yourself a massage here. And you don't want to do something that hurts, because again, we're in nervous system land. So do this gently, make it feel nice and delicious. Listen to your body. If it doesn't love doing this, then do it a little softer. You can always sit in a chair to roll. And a few more long swipes. And you're going to take your ball to the forefoot, heel on the ground. You're going to kind of windshield wiper your foot over your ball a few times. You can put that ball further back towards your heel if you want. Like I said, we're not doing anything too technical. We're just warming up the tissues here, because once we let those tissues on the back of our feet go, that can have an impact all the way up our body. Those tissues are connected between the bottoms of our feet and actually all the way up to our skull. One of the reasons that working on our feet can have an impact on our squat, but also on migraines and headaches. It's really interesting. All right, so a little bit of rolling. And if you want, you can retest your squat right now and just see, did even that little bit of rolling make a difference? And it's quite possible that it has, but also maybe it hasn't. So check in, and now we're going to move to the ankles themselves. So for this, we're going to do a straight-legged ankle car. Take a yoga block or some other object. Rest your straight leg on that object. And I want you to keep an eye on your leg. If you happen to be wearing pants, you can keep an eye on your pants seam. I don't want your leg to roll side to side here. I want you to keep it very still. So what you're going to do is you're going to firm up your body, create some tension through your whole body, point your toes, and start making a big ankle circle. Make it a nice, smooth, controlled, evenly paced motion. The biggest ankle circle you can make without getting any movement happening from your leg. You want to see here, is anything jerky? Can you keep it smoother? Make it very slow, because the slower you make your movement, the more deliberate and slow you make your movement, the more able you are to create changes. If you rush through movements, you're in your kind of automatic movement system. And if you go slowly, you have a chance to actually improve the movement quality. So I've just done 3.5 on this side. So let's switch directions, rotating around to the outside and then coming inside. So this is a sort of a simple version of an ankle controlled articular rotation. It's a really great way to warm up the tissues in the ankle capsules, getting all that joint stuff nice and warmed up. So you're using a fair bit of effort as you're going through these ankle circles. You're not just flopping your ankle around, you're going slowly, but you're also imagining that you're going through some thick, syrupy air, like somebody turned everything around you into jello, and you have to push your foot through that jello. Let's finish this guy up, finishing up 3 ankle circles on this side. And we're going to go to the other side and do 3 slow, controlled ankle circles on this side as well. Point your toes, reach your foot out towards your pinky toe side of the foot, pull your foot back, that's your dorsiflexion, so really work here to warm that up. Coming inside and out, pointing again. I bashed my leg with my surfboard yesterday and I'm on top of a bruise, so I'm just going to move my block, but you can keep your block where it is. Keep circling. We're going to do 3 in this direction as well. Really think about that dorsiflexion bit where you're pulling your toes up towards your knee. And then point your toe here. You're working those same dorsiflexion tissues in the long range. And don't forget about the side-to-side movements, the inversion and the eversion, because that is really integral to how you're able to move your foot in the linear path. So the side-to-side stuff, the rotational stuff, is actually what opens up space so that you can flex your ankle. How about reversing here? So reaching now towards the big toe side of your foot, pointing, trying to work smooth and controlled here, really, really trying to do your best possible ankle circle, big, same pace throughout, trying to find the edges of what your ankle will do, and never going into any pain. So if you do feel something that's uncomfortable, just make your circle a little smaller. If you hear lots of clicking and popping, though, that's pretty normal. Don't worry about that too much. All right, so finishing that guy up. We're going back to the first leg. And I want to just spend a little time on side-to-side movement, because it is really important. If you're not able to dorsiflex, it could be that you're also not very able to invert and evert. So at least we're going to warm that up today. You could even work to increase your inversion and eversion capacity. We're not going to do that today, but I do want to warm it up. So what you're going to do is you're going to point your toes, and then you're going to reach your foot towards the inside of your body. It's like you're trying to fold the inner edge of your sole towards your shin. And I want you to try to pull that foot like you're trying to fold it like a book, and hold that there for a few seconds. Now keep pointing your toes. You're going to do the same thing on the other side. So try to bring the outside of the sole of your foot towards the outside of your leg. Squeeze this sideways tissue on the side of your leg for a few seconds. And then we'll do that 2 more times. So pointing the toe, you're going to stay pointing the whole way through. Then you're going to fold up your ankle like it's a book, bringing the inside edge of the sole of your foot towards the inside of your shin. Hold and squeeze that, and then point your toes, come through your biggest amount of toe pointing, plantar flexion, and then on the other side, you're going to squeeze this ankle stuff, the side ankle stuff, like you're trying to pull the sole of your foot towards your shin. And then one more time, pointing and folding up sideways here. Really try to get a sense of the tissues on the inside of the ankle, and then pointing and folding up again here. So lots of work there in a place you maybe don't work too often. And now we're going to try pointing, dorsiflexing, pull your foot all the way in towards your shin, and we're going to repeat that in dorsiflexion. So here, you're going to pull the inside edge of your foot towards the inside edge of your calf, squeeze all those inside tissues for a few seconds, and then stay as dorsiflexed as you can, go over to the other side, and squeeze this outside tissue stuff. Really work that. Feel both sides of the joint working, and then other side. So stay dorsiflexed, keep working through the front of the leg, and then squeeze the inside edge stuff on both the foot and the leg. Get the most folding you can get between your foot and your leg, and then we're going to go back to the outside. Squeeze this outside stuff. Really work that. We're trying to get feedback between the brain and the joint, so the more you squeeze, the more feedback you get. One more time, folding that foot towards the inside of the leg, working the inside of the ankle, and then outside stuff. So this is great for building ankle control and stability so that you are better at balancing, less likely to fall. It's an awesome exercise. It's called a capsule car. Let that go. Just shake it out. Nice and warmed up now. Other side, so we're going to do that same thing. We're going to point, we're going to fold, we're going to point, we're going to fold to the outside. 3 times here. And like I said, my leg really is very sore, so I'm going to do it here. So you're going to point, and now you're going to go towards the inside. You're going to fold the inside edge of your right foot towards the inside edge of your right leg. Squeeze it there for a few seconds. Stay pointing. Work this rotation all the way to the other side. Squeeze the outside stuff. Stay pointing. Squeeze the inside stuff. Really try to get the inside edge of your foot as close as you can to the inside edge of your leg. Point. And other side. Squeeze the outside stuff as best as you can. Try not to move your leg. You're just moving between the foot and the ankle here. Pointing. Squeezing on the inside one more time, working really hard here. As long as it's not hurting, go to your maximum amount of effort, and then pointing and squeezing up the outside stuff. Try to get the outside edge of your foot as close as you can to the outside edge of your shin. If it's not very close, don't worry about it. You're just going to do your best. Now relax that. Dorsiflex your foot. Pull it in as much as you can actively. So this is important. How much active dorsiflexion you have is ultimately the best. Active work is really important for your body. We'll talk more about that later. Stay dorsiflexed, fold towards the outside and squeeze. Move through that thick jello-like air. Fold towards the inside, squeeze the inside stuff. Keep dorsiflexion, keep pulling your foot back towards your leg. Squeeze the outside stuff. Pull back towards your body, squeeze the inside stuff. You're trying to get a little bit further in every single movement here. Work your dorsiflexion, and then pull the outside edge of your foot towards the outside edge of your leg. Come through dorsiflexion, working super hard here. Inside edge of the foot comes towards the inside of your calf as best as you can. Squeeze it out, and then let that go. Okay. Whew, that was lots. We're going to do a quick toe stretch because, again, that bottom of the foot stretch stuff is attached to your ankle stuff, your calf stuff, the back of your leg stuff. So it all plays in here. Okay, so grab your yoga block, grab something to push against, like this convenient palm tree. You're just going to put your right foot on your yoga block for stability. You could also do this against a wall or any immovable object. This is just easier for me to show you. Then you're going to take your big toe and you're going to stretch it against the back of your block like so. So it's being pulled back into big toe dorsiflexion. And then what you're going to do to really amp up the stretch is you're going to lift up your heel a little bit. And you can just lift it up until you feel a nice stretch to the bottom of your foot here. You shouldn't feel any jamming through the top of the toe. And if you do, you need to do some different mobility work here. You should always feel a stretch on the longer side of the tissues, not a jamming through the front side tissues. You can lift your heel up higher if you want more stretch. You don't have to lift your heel up at all if you've got enough stretch. You're just going to stretch out that tissue a little bit. And then what you're going to do is you're actually going to press your big toe into your yoga block. So just start gently and dial up the amount you're pressing from 0% to 30% to 60%. Just press down with your big toe for a second. Keep your heel where it is. Hold that 60% pressure. And then I'm going to count you down, and you're going to try to pull your big toe back towards your ankle for a few seconds. So 3, 2, 1. Can you pull your big toe actively? Use the top of your foot stuff. Pull your big toe even deeper into the stretch by pulling your toe back towards you. It probably won't go anywhere. You're just going to try. And then let that go. Lift your heel up a little bit higher if you can. Take a nice deep inhale, and then exhale nice and slowly. Slower than your inhale. One more inhale. Slow exhale. And we're going to let that go. So that was just a little bit of toe mobility work to see if that also is going to play into your ankle dorsiflexion, because it often will. Other side, we're turning around here. Got my left foot on my yoga block. I'm lining my right big toe up with my yoga block. I've got something to hold on to, so I'm not going to fall over. Looking for a stretch on the bottom of that right foot now, and I'm going to lift up my heel. I have a lot of big toe mobility. If yours looks nothing like mine, that's totally cool. Yours is going to look like yours looks. Do not try to achieve the same shape as me. Just go to the place where you've got a nice stretch. So everyone's shape is going to be different, and one of the downsides of teaching on video like this is you see my body. My body is going to show you the direction you should work in, but not the end point that you should get to. You're going to get to your own end point. So I've been hanging out here stretching for a few seconds. Now we're going to make it active again like we just did. So you're going to start pressing your big toe into your yoga block as though you could squish a hole in your yoga block with your big toe, dialing it up from 30% to 60%. You're going to just hold 60%. See how much you can keep it a steady amount of 60%. If I asked you to go to 100, you'd have more to give. You're not going max effort here. But you're going to hold it steady as you can. And then in a few seconds, I'm going to count you down. You're going to reverse it. It'll be like you're trying to pull your big toe towards the top of your foot actively to get more stretch by using the muscles between your big toe and your foot. All right, so in 3, 2, 1, now start using the top of your foot. Your little toes might lift up. You're trying to increase the amount of stretch that you're getting by using the tissues on the top of your foot. Really squeeze this. You can definitely squeeze hard here. I'm shaking. That's okay if you are too. And then let that work go. See if you can get a little higher in the stretch by lifting your heel a little bit more. 2 nice deep breaths. Nice long, slow inhale and a longer, slower exhale. That's going to help slow down your heart rate. It's going to calm down your nervous system. It's going to let you get a little deeper into the stretch. So longer exhales and inhales are a way to instantly self-regulate your stress response. It instantly changes the amount of nervous system arousal that you have. So when you're stretching, long inhales, longer exhales are a really good idea. All right. Whew. That was a lot of toe mobility on a dorsiflexion class. Let's check in again with our dorsiflexion. So why don't you come into your squat? You can stay bolstered or not. See how that feels now. The same or different? It could be either. It's just nice to check in and see what your work is doing. My feet are certainly feeling nice and warmed up now. Okay, so now we're going to get to the meat and potatoes here. We are going to go for dorsiflexion. Now what we just did with the big toe is called a PAIL and rail. And I'm going to explain what that's all about via dorsiflexion. So you could do this on the ground in this position. That would look like this from the side. In fact, I'm going to show you from this side. Lots of people find that's not the most comfortable position. So if that's you, you might prefer to be on top of a box like this. And a box like this is nice because you can also pull against the box with your hands, and we're going to talk about that in a second. So you're going to come into your best dorsiflexion. Now, I have a ton of dorsiflexion. This is another place where you should not expect your body necessarily to look like mine at all. I'm a pretty bendy person, and this is one of my bendier areas. So if your knee is up here, that's totally cool. What you're trying to make sure here, though, is that your heel isn't lifting up. If you're feeling like there's a blockage here, I want you to go to the last video I posted and do the mobilization in that video before you continue, because you're not going to get any further just by stretching if your blockage or limitation is in the front of the ankle. Right now, we're doing work for the back of the leg. Okay? So, PAILs and rails are a really great stretching technique for a number of reasons. This is a stretch. This is the legit stretch. We're going to hang out here for a little while I talk to you. And you are changing your tissues passively right now. So all the stuff on the back of your leg is being lengthened, and over time your nervous system and your tissues are going to change because you're hanging out in this stretch. So if you don't feel like doing a PAILs and rails, the good news is you don't really have to. But what the PAILs and rails will do is you're going to get more tissue change faster because we're going to use isometrics to trick the nervous system into giving you a little bit more range. The other thing you're going to do is in that new range, you're going to create force like we just did with the toes. That means that you're using tissues to create strength. That means those tissues get stronger. So by doing this active stretch, what you're actually doing is you're creating better quality tissue. So instead of just stretching and creating length, now you're going to create length and strength. So I think they're a really valuable tool. I use them for my own practice regularly, and that's why I'm teaching them here. I think they're the best way to get more dorsiflexion. All right, so you've been here for a while now. I'm just going to show you kind of actively what we're going to be doing here, but stay where you are. So the PAILs here is like you're pushing your foot into the box. It's almost like a calf raise. It's this gas pedal motion. You're not going to go anywhere, though, because you're on a box. The rails will be the pulling up, that dorsiflexion active that we did in the cars earlier. Okay? So start creating some gas pedaling now. So you got 0 degrees of force, but start dialing that up to 10 degrees of force, and to 20, and to 30. And meanwhile, you want to grab onto your box, or you could hug a block or whatever. You're creating whole body tension here too, because that's going to help you create more force with your foot. You're not just creating gravitational push. I want you to actively use the back of your leg to press your foot into your box. And you're dialing it up here. You're going to dial it all the way up to your maximum safe, non-painful effort, and you're going to hold it right there. So you're pushing pretty hard right now, thinking you're 100% effort. You couldn't do any more if you tried. You're pushing and holding, and on my count, you're going to rails, which is going to be actively trying to pull your foot towards your shin. That's the opposite. So it's like you're trying to get out of the stretch right now, and in 3, 2, 1, you're going to try to stretch more by actively using the top of your foot to pull that foot towards your shin. So all this stuff here is working super, super hard right now. Really feel that. It's a ton of work, I know. You might get cramps, that's fine, and my hip is cramping. Totally normal. You're going to relax that all out in 3, 2, 1. Let go and see if you can go deeper into the stretch. And usually you're going to get 10 to 15 more degrees of stretch because we've just asked the nervous system to give you more and made it feel strong and safe in that position. So there you go. A little bit more dorsiflexion. We're going to do one more round of those, okay? So take one more deep breath, one long inhale, one longer exhale. And then start dialing up your effort. So you're gas pedaling down into the block again, working that foot into the block or box or whatever you're on, pressing down, working all the way up to your 100% effort. Using your upper body for strength here, you can press into your box, you can pull your box, you can pull your box apart, whatever helps you create force in your whole body. You can brace your abs here. You're pressing down 100% of your maximum safe effort with your foot. Really, really working here. And then on my count of 3, you're going to switch directions. You're going to try to use your tissues actively to create more dorsiflexion. 3, 2, 1. pull your foot towards your shin. Work the inside edge of your leg. Really, really try to create this actively. If I move the box away, I would not want to see you lose this amount of dorsiflexion. Holding through the foot, through the front of the leg. Working super hard here. This is the last time we're doing this, so give me your best effort. And in 3, 2, 1, let that go. Try to go a tiny bit deeper without letting your heel lift up off the box. And breathe, like so. Nice breath in, better breath out. Always think longer breath out. We want to get a little bit further here. All right, so you could probably stay in that stretch for a bit longer, but we're going to come out now, and we're going to finish this side with one quick round of ankle cars. So pointing your toe, circling to the inside. We're going to do 2 in each direction, all the way up, out, pointing, using lots of effort here. I want you to make this like you're going through extra thick syrup now. Imagine I froze the Jell-O. I want you to work super hard here. You're using the tissues we've just stretched. That's what's going to help you create the tissue change. So we made nervous system change. Now we want tissue change. Coming all the way up and then reversing. Moving your foot in, around, pointing, coming through. Squeezing the inside tissues, the working tissues, stretching the lengthening tissues. Never going into pain, trying to stay smooth, trying to keep the cadence the same throughout, not letting your leg move. It's a lot to think about. You can do this class as many times as you like because this is all the basics of how you're going to do really effective mobility work as you move forward. Should you choose to move forward, which I think is a great idea. Okay, so let's do the other side and then we'll finish by retesting our squat. So on the other side, I'm coming into my half kneeling position. Like I said, you could do this on the ground if you wanted to. And you're going to move your knee forward until you're in full dorsiflexion. Wow, my poor calf is so sore. I'm going to have a crazy bruise. I'll have to post a picture of my bruise because I really got thumped by my surfboard. But it's really nice to use tissues that have been injured as long as you're not overdoing it, and my calf is definitely appreciating the stretch. So we're going to hang out here in the stretch. It's usually good to hold a stretch for around 2 minutes when you're doing this work, and the reason for that is that most of the recent research on collagen and the body shows that holding a stretch for around 2 minutes is about when you start creating actual tissue change. So there's no magic number, everyone's going to be a little different, but 2 minutes seems to be a good amount of time to actually start creating some physical changes in your body. And then we're going to go into the PAILs and rails. That's going to create the nervous system changes and the strengthening changes. And then we're going to use the cars at the end to consolidate those changes and those gains. So it's very systematic work because it's focused on creating a goal of creating actual change in your body. So it's, there's a reason that all of this stuff is in here. All right, so let's start with the PAILs. If you remember, that's going to be like we're gas pedaling down the foot, and we're going to dial it up from 0%. Now start pushing your forefoot into your block or box about 20%, and dialing that up to 40%, 60, 80, all the way to your safest, greatest, maximum effort. Pressing down with your foot into the box. You're creating strength in your calf and the bottom of your foot while those tissues are long right now. So that's a great place to be strong. Pressing down nice and hard here. If it hurts, back off. Don't go into pain. Pressing. And then on my count, you're going to go into rails where you're going to pull your foot up towards your shin. So in 3, 2, 1, pull the foot up. Your toes can lift here. I'm okay with that. Really work. You may not actually move, but you're trying your absolute best to pull your foot up towards your shin. Pull your shin down to your foot. Use the muscles on the front of your leg to do that. Pull, 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 pull. Working at 100% effort here for another 3, 2, 1. Relax that out. Sink into the stretch deeper. See if you can get your knee to dorsal flex further. My big toe is being weird. There you go. All right, so don't let your heel lift. That's your anchor point. If your heel lifts, you're not dorsiflexing more, you're just wiggling. Hanging out here. Nice deep breaths. Deep breath in, longer breath out. Big breath in, longer breath out. One more breath, and then we're going to go into a second round of PAILs and rails here. All right, so when you're ready, think 10% gas pedaling down, 20, dialing it up, 40, 60, 80, safest, greatest, maximum effort. If it hurts, you are past where you should be, so dial it back if it doesn't feel okay for you. But you are supposed to work hard here. Grab your box, press into your yoga block, create whole body tension here. Think upper body, think abs, think glutes, think foot. You're pressing out of this nice and hard, holding for another few seconds, and you're going to come into your rails in 3, 2, 1. Pull that foot up towards your shin. Top of the foot stuff, shin stuff, ankle stuff, all working to create the most dorsiflexion you can. Pull, 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 pull. Nice and hard here. And then 3, 2, 1. Relax it out. Move a little bit further into dorsiflexion if you can. Hold the stretch for a few more breaths. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Nice slow breath in. Slower, nicer breath out. All right. Let's come off there. Couple of ankle cars in each direction on this side as well. So pointing your toes, moving towards the pinky side of your foot, moving through molasses, working hard. Imagine you're pulling an elastic band with your foot. This is not a simple toe circle. This is work. Think about using the tissues that you've been working to create this movement. The side of the leg, the back of the leg, the outside of your calf and foot, the top of your shin and foot, and then reversing, going the other way, the outside of your leg and foot, back of your leg and foot to plantar flex, inside stuff, top stuff. That's your dorsiflexion. You want this stuff to work actively. Active range is very useful. It's more resilient. When you just have passive range, you tend to lack control and you lack strength and resilience. So active range is what we're going for with this work. Around to the outside, pointing in and through. Whew! It's a lot of work, hey? All right, so let's test our squat again. So you're going to come down, go nice and slow, see how things are feeling. What's that like for you? Does it feel like you have more dorsiflexion now? Does it feel different than before? Whether it's bolster or not. Are your heels lifting like they were before? Are they more able to come to the ground? Could go either way. One session may not make a difference, but one session may also make a big difference. So I'll be curious to hear what you noticed. Definitely put a note in the comments to let me know if you got a change. I'd love to hear. And a lot of this mobility work is a big part of my teaching, so if you'd like to do more of it, definitely head to my website, petrafishermovement.com, join my newsletter, check out my CARS course, Joints for Life, which is the basis of all this work, and hopefully we will get to work together more in the future. Awesome. Ciao.